Class, happy Tuesday, May 19. Today's learning target is to identify and describe recent, and by recent I mean within the past few years, protests, particularly ones that have been based and have taken place within the United States. Our agenda for today, first I'm just going to give a little bit of review and overview of what this unit is meant to be all about. You will then have a worksheet to complete, and I'll give you some reminders for what the rest of this class looks like. Your worksheet is something that you have to have done by Thursday, 3 p.m., and that'll be a homework grade for you. So first, just want to review what the essential questions are for this unit. So one, what's the value in studying protest movements? Two, how do we respond to protest movements in a way that reflects our calling to be light, salt, and aroma of Christ? Third, how should we use our voice to speak out for redemptive change in the world? How do we take a vehicle like protest and use that for God's kingdom? Those are the key questions. I read through your protest parameters worksheets. A lot of interesting thoughts. I was grateful for what you guys typed and turned in to me. One thing that stood out to me is a lot of people talked about how doing protest in a non-peaceful way was wrong. That peaceful protest is literally the only correct methods of protest. And I won't disagree, but I just wonder, in the most extreme and dire circumstances, is violent protest something that can be biblical, that can be just, that can be still obedience in the eyes of the Lord? I think if it's not necessary, then of course it's not. Blessed are the peacemakers. Jesus said that himself. But is there ever a point in time where protest in a violent way could be necessary? That's something I'd love you guys just by yourselves to consider a little bit more. For your worksheet, this is something that you may do by yourself, or if you'd rather do it with a partner, I will allow you to do it with a partner. You have today, tomorrow, and Thursday to finish it. It is due Thursday, 3 p.m. This will be a homework grade. This will be the last assignment outside of your exam that you will complete for this class. And this will be your last video outside of your exam that you will be receiving from me. So for this worksheet, what I need you to do is choose 2 U.S.-based protest movements from the past few years. Try to make them specific, but not so specific where you won't be able to do the worksheet. If you are an international student and you would like to do one protest movement that started and stemmed in a place closer to home, I will allow you to choose one non-U.S. based protest movement, because part of why I'm making it U.S. based is because I want you to focus on protests that are close to home, literally. Ones that are close to you, and I want you to evaluate those. So if you're an international student, feel free to choose one that's not in the United States and that's closer to where you were born and raised. What I'd like you to consider doing is choosing 2 protests, one that you would support and agree with, maybe in what the protest is about or how the protest was done, or maybe even both. And then I'd like you to consider choosing one that maybe you're more against, either because what they're protesting for is something you disagree with, or how they protested was something you disagree with, or once again, maybe both things are something you disagreed with. I'd like you to kind of evaluate them side by side. So the worksheet's a Google Doc. It's got 5 different questions on it. I do expect you to use research to answer these questions. I think some of you might already think that you know all the details about these protests, especially if protests something that you got into and something you were passionate about. But I still would like you to do your research and try to base information on facts, not just on how you personally have perceived them, and just answer all of those questions the best that you possibly can. And each question is worth 5 points, so it's a 25-point worksheet. What is going to happen? These are your final reminders, is that on Friday, I'm going to post a video at 8 a.m., and that video is simply going to remind you to finish all missing late work if you have it, and it's going to explain the particular details about what your exam looks like. On Friday at 10 a.m., I will post your exam. And I don't care when you do it between this week, Friday, 10 a.m., and next week, Thursday, 3 p.m. I will let you schedule this exam around whatever other exams you have in your classes. I don't know what they look like. I don't know when they're scheduled, so I want to be flexible with mine. So Friday, 10 a.m., the exam will get posted. Watch that video Friday, 8 a.m. to get some more details. Otherwise, I am not posting anything else on Google Classroom Wednesday or Thursday. The only thing you have to worry about is getting this worksheet done by Thursday, 3 p.m. If you have questions about it, let me know. Otherwise, I will talk to you more this week, Friday, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of this week until then.